Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital YouTube channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Today on General Hospital, Curtis tries to stand, Spencer romances Trina in Paris, and Dante realizes Esme duped them. In Paris, Spencer invites Trina to a romantic restaurant for supper. Trina is captivated by Paris, but wants to know what else he has planned for tonight. He refuses to spoil the surprise. Spencer sees black gold caviar on the menu and recalls begging his father to try it as a child. He eventually got to try it and enjoyed it, but then discovered it was only black beans. He hopes Ace has memories like that. Spencer returns the conversation to his plans for the evening, and he offers to tell Trina, but she refuses to spoil the surprise. She wonders what he'll be doing while she's at class. He claims he wants to figure out what his interest is, so he'll go exploring. He regrets wasting so much time when he was here before conspiring against his father and Ava with Esme. He's also sorry he got her into such a mess because she didn't deserve it, but she claims he didn't either. He thinks she motivates him to be a better person. After dinner, Spencer leads Trina to the rest of their surprise and they go outside. She can't believe this is actually occurring. They go away, then Esme appears and pursues them. In Toronto, Dante and Chase, together with a cop, knock on the apartment door. Maggie opens the door and recognizes Dante. Dante asks if they may come in and talk, and she welcomes them inside. Maggie reveals that she has been working in Toronto since they last saw each other in Ireland, and things are quiet, which she would like to preserve. Dante does not want to cause any issue and claims that they are only looking for Esme. Maggie claims they're looking in the wrong place because she doesn't know where Esme is and hasn't seen her in years. Maggie explains that she wrote Esme months ago, but never heard back. Dante claims they have a letter from Esme inviting her to visit. Maggie proposes they have the handwriting validated because she did not write such a thing. After investigating the area, Chase finds that there is no proof Esme was present. Dante and Chase understand they've been duped, so Dante asks Maggie if she knows where Esme could go. She's not sure, and she attempted to persuade her to take a different route years ago, but she was determined to reunite with her family. Dante believes that might be the key. Dante and Chase head outside, and Dante suspects Esme is after Ace. Dante decides to call Laura. Laura sits by Kevin's bedside at GH, but he is once again asleep. She missed when he awoke, and a nurse informs Portia that Kevin has been in and out. Kevin eventually arrives, and Portia asks him some basic questions to ensure his well-being. Laura wonders who did this to him, and he admits it was Esme. Laura claims they mistook her for Esme, who has escaped, but Dante and Chase are tracking her down in Toronto. Laura wonders whether he has any idea why she attacked him. He claims they were talking, and he believed he was getting through to her, but then everything went black. Portia departs, and Laura tells Kevin how terrified she was when she discovered him on the floor of Alex's office. He jokes that he didn't survive Ryan only to be killed by his daughter. Laura is sad about Esme and felt she could change her life around, but then she regained her recollection. Laura believes Esme didn't have time to reconcile her two identities before Nicholas abducted Ace, sending her over the edge. Kevin doesn't believe Esme would travel to Toronto, and the whole situation feels strange to him. He believes something occurred at Alex's office that he cannot recall. An investigator arrives to question Kevin about what he remembers. He recalls walking into Alex's office and finding Esme on the laptop, holding the invader's company card. Laura chooses to call Alexis. More, John Brennan is back. Alexis comes in the courthouse late, as does Tracy. Sam is looking for further information, and Alexis discovers that Muldoon visited an oncologist before going to see Finn. Alexis wonders how an oncologist missed late-stage cancer. Gregory responds, he didn't. Alexis learns about the theory Muldoon devised for Finn. Liz questions whether this is enough for the judge to dismiss the lawsuit. Tracy believes they should bring Muldoon's wife back to the stand, uncover the fraud claim, and make her crack. Martin claims that without documentation, the wife knew it would be risky. Tracy claims that if the accusation is public, GH lawyers can pursue it. Gregory believes Tracy is not helping and proposes they get some water. Finn asks Martin what would happen to Mrs. Muldoon if she knew about the deception, and he responds she would face jail time. Liz says they still need to find out if she was involved in the fraud. Martin notices Diane and her wife and gets an idea. Mrs. Muldoon laments to Diane in the hallway that she doesn't have enough money to pay for her children's college, let alone worry if they lose the lawsuit. Martin appears and requests to talk with Diane alone. Diane informs Mrs. Muldoon not to approach Finn. Naturally, Muldoon's wife enters the courtroom and confronts Finn, telling him that if he had any decency, he would plead guilty right now. Alexis claims she should not be engaging Finn, but he wants to hear what she has to say. Alexis excuses herself when she receives a text from Laura, and Finn informs Mrs. Muldoon that he recommended her husband to seek further treatment, but he did not. She claims that is not like her husband. He would do anything to avoid leaving them, and he would do anything for his family, which is why he was the one who urged them to suit. She believes it's terrible for a man to die so young, and Finn agrees. Meanwhile, Martin tells Diane that he needs to add Dr. Powell to the witness list. Diane has no idea who it is. Diane and Martin return to court, and Diane quickly separates her client from Finn. Gregory and Tracy also return, asking what transpired. Finn claims the wife is in pain, but Martin claims Diane did not remember the oncologist's name when he called them to the stand. Finn and Liz both feel Mrs. Muldoon had no involvement in the deception. Finn does not want to see Mrs. Muldoon go to prison for fraud because she is all her children have, but Tracy advises him to think about his child. Liz draws Finn aside and advises him to consider utilizing the fraud claim, but Finn is unsure whether it will help to throw a sad widow under the bus. He knows that in the end, someone will be injured. Diane asks Mrs. Muldoon if she knows any Dr. Powells, but she doesn't. Meanwhile, Martin asks Finn what he wants to do. Finn despises the idea of Mrs. Muldoon going to prison, but Martin warns him that if they don't pursue this, he would lose everything. Back at GH, Stella sees Curtis at his physical therapy appointment. Ben, the therapist, excuses himself, and Curtis says she has no need to check on him. She goes on to remark, "Too late, I've been doing it your whole life." Curtis claims he only wants to analyze how the procedure went, and Stella considers him stubborn. Ben, the therapist, returns, and she asks him if it is dangerous for Curtis to try to stand so soon after surgery. Ben claims it will be safe between him and the parallel bars. Curtis is able to lift himself up with his arms, but he struggles to stand on his own and falls back into his chair. He's troubled and claims he's finished for the day. Stella begs Ben for a moment, and Curtis believes Stella was correct not to try to stand so quickly. Stella wonders why he assumed it would work on the first try. Curtis confesses that the treatment has given him renewed optimism, and he wants to move forward. She says he will, but it will be a slow process, and he will have to take things one step at a time. Portia arrives and informs Stella and Curtis that Kevin is awake and growing well. She inquires as to Ben's location and whether or not the session has concluded. Stella asks Curtis if it is. He says he's taking a break and asks Stella to bring Ben back. She goes, and Portia wonders what she missed. He claims he pushed too hard, bruising his ego. He inquires about Esme, and Portia hopes she is apprehended and imprisoned, as she does not want to hear about her again. Later, Ben returns to complete the session with Curtis. Stella describes today's training as the first step toward a first step. Curtis swears he will be walking by the time Trina arrives home. Back in Kevin's room, Dante phones Laura and informs her that Toronto has proven to be a dead end. He suspects Esme's targeting Nicholas and Ace. Laura feels they have a new lead, and Alexis arrives with a list of the expenditures made on the business card, which reveals something shocking. Laura realizes Esme's pursuing Spencer and Trina after she books a ticket to Paris. Thanks for watching if you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.